What is going on, everybody?
Yo, yo, yo.
Welcome back to another episode of Open Late with Nev and Kev.
Yazerski. I'm Nev.
And I'm Kev. What's going on, bro?
Oh, man. You know, it's good. Chilling.
Brother, how about the fucking thunderstorm last night?
That shit woke me up, bro.
I was working in that bitch.
No way.
It was fucking lightning all around me through the sky.
Shit was lit
And
up.
it had sprinkled a little bit off and on earlier in the day. I was like, this is weird because it's real gloomy and muggy and like humid. And I was like, well, I hope it don't start dumping because that sucks, you know? And then it kind of went away and then it got dark and I was like, okay, cool, whatever. But then the sky just started lighting up.
Dude, it's crazy.
And
light up my entire room from the window.
Yeah, bro,
like,
it was
whoa.
nuts. And then I was like, oh, damn, like it's getting like more intense. So I finish up my night. I go park the truck, do my post-trip inspection. I'm like, seeing the sky. I'm like, dude, it's nuts. And I get home and, dude, as I'm walking in my garage, it just comes down, dumping, bro. I was like, I'm so glad. Like, I made it home because it dumped for a while. I don't know if you were asleep at this point, but it was around, I don't know, 11
yeah,
midnight.
I seen it and
it
I
was
heard it.
just buckets, bro, and spurts, and it would stop, and then you would hear like the sky go and grunt and grumble.
It sounded like the world was angry, bro.
Yeah, people in
Like-
what would it be like Portland, right?
Oh,
they're,
yeah, they're
they're
used to
probably
that.
like, chill out with your dumbass story, bro. We live this shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
we're in the valley and we never get stuff like that. So, or it's very, very rare. So when we do, it's like, yo.
Yeah, Sabrina texted me yesterday because she's in Hong Kong and there's a typhoon, and they treat typhoons like snow days. So it's like, oh, if there's a typhoon, you don't have to go to school today.
This is like what extreme wind.
Yeah, no, typhoon is like a mini tsunami kind of. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'll put a video up on here right now, but like she sent me this video of like just fucking water straight into the lobby, knocks over the bellhop, like he like falls to the ground. And I'm like, oh shit.
No shit.
And then I was like, dude, are you okay? Like, what happened? Like, are you good? And she's like, oh yeah, this is normal over here. I'm like,
yeah, that's a trip, dude.
yeah, extreme weather, bro.
Yeah, like we have it so good here in the valley. And I was always, when I was a kid, I developed that thought where, you know how when people live in a city or a town or they're from somewhere, it's like obviously you have the hometown hate where you're like, I need to get out of this town.
Yeah, we all collectively agree
like,
on
I
that.
gotta go somewhere. Like, I hate it here. But I kind of grew up, and it's like, although I've lived in some sketchy neighborhoods and places that were undesirable, but like, if you just think about like, you could just go move to a good neighborhood. The overall of like the city and the valley and like where we're at is pretty fucking sweet. Like, we have a 99 highway that connects everything together.
Literally all of California.
Go to the top of California, all the way out this bitch, all the way to the bottom of California and out this bitch. It's like just one long road. And that's fucking sweet, dude. You could go from where we are, you go 45 minutes to an hour and some change that way, be at the beach. You go an hour and some change that way and be in the snow. You could go fucking snowboard and surf in the same day if you wanted to.
But see, that's why LA is so desirable, because you could do all those things in LA and it's like direction.
Yeah, but like you're also you have terrible traffic. You have all these things that are undesirable about it. Like anywhere you go, it's like, you could do that, but you're also going to sit in traffic for hours. Here in the valley, you don't have that. You really don't.
It's just a longer distance though. LA, everything's like 4 or 5 miles apart. Like if you were to go from
but
here,
if you're in West Hollywood and you want to go to the beach, that's fucking 4 hours.
No, it's not.
Fighting traffic, bro.
No, it's not. It's an hour max to go to.
I don't know. I've sat in some dumbass traffic trying to get to fucking Orange County from.
Orange County's different. Because if you go from Orange County to LA, that's going to take you like 4 hours.
Yeah, bro.
Traffic.
That's what I'm saying. If you're just trying to go to like anywhere like toward, I guess you could go to like Laguna and stuff like that. But you're still, you get the point. It's like where we are, we don't have, and LA is, I guess, included if you want to consider that. But where we are specifically, because it's where we grew up, we have this like pretty sweet little deal. We don't get harsh weather. I mean, it gets hot.
It gets hot.
But it's not hot like Arizona hot or like humid and shit like Florida. You know, it's like on a rare summer, we've hit like 112, 114 only a handful of times. other than that, like this year, it stayed in about like I think the hottest it got was like 107 for a day. The rest of it's been like 198, whatever, you know.
But that 107 feels like hell over here for some
Anything
reason.
over 100 just sucks. You
Yeah.
go from 100 to 114, and it's like it don't. It's hot, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Shouts out the Valley, dude. because,
Modesto.
yeah. I kind of take it like I just kind of dig, you know, the situation for being here. Like if I
Yeah.
was to live in California, like this is a pretty good little pocket for if you're just trying to be able to do all those different types of things and stuff. LA is great because like the music scene and shit. Up north is awesome, you know. Further up north and stuff, which is like I don't know, it kind of reminds me like old Sacramento reminds me a little bit of LA, but more organized. You
cleaner.
know, it's just yeah, it just seems like they got their shit together. Like, you know, it's like I'm sure there's obviously areas in Sac, but for the majority, it just feels like there's a lot more community.
Yeah, I mean
And-
it's the state capital too, so
Right.
they kind of have to abide by some guidelines of
Yeah.
like how it should look and everything, you know.
Yeah. It's cool out there, man. I got a buddy that well, a lot of my buddies went to Sac State, so whenever they went to college, because they're a little younger than me, so by the time I was already out of school, then they went to college. So me and a couple of my buddies that were like brothers and stuff to the younger homies that went out there, like we spent a lot of time just
Going crazy and
going
Sac.
crazy. Yes, fun times, but
That's dope. I heard Sac. I remember like when I first turned 18, like we were barely allowed to start going to clubs, and everybody there was 2 clubs in NorCal that everybody wanted to go to. They wanted to go to City Nights in San Francisco, and they wanted to go to Mangoes in Sac.
I've been to Mangoes.
I've never been to Mangoes. I've heard countless stories of people at Mangoes.
Yeah.
It's insane, dude.
Yeah. So, one of my buddies, which I try not to say names because I don't know how people feel about certain
Yeah.
stories.
Just
so,
give them.
Okay. Let me think of one first, but for I'll just tell you the story. So
Or just make up a name.
Yeah, me and Buddy. I'm just calling Buddy.
Uh.
me and Buddy.
Buddy Healed.
I go out there and he's like, yeah, let's tie one on, like let's drink all and it was just him and me, like, you know, it was just, and I was like pull up on him, immediately go to his crib first, and when I pull up he throws me a beer in the air. Immediately as it's coming to me, he's starting the process to get ready to shotgun, so I know, like, bite the can, pop it, rock it, whatever, you know. And so boom, we shotgun these beers and then have a couple more, and then we're like, all right, let's go get an Uber. I think that's what we did. Yeah, we got an Uber to downtown Sac, which is where he worked at as a bartender. And so he, because of Sac State, and now obviously time has passed where he's graduated, you know, he just made his home out there now and has bartended in all these places, like knows everybody from just years of partying. Then those people end up working these places, whatever. And so he's like, has this like string of a bar crawl essentially, from like bar, club.
He knows
bar,
all
club.
the spots.
And he's like, yo, we're going to hit them all. We're just going to hoof it. And I'm like, all right. So
For
dude,
one.
so we go from place to place. I mean, we're just throwing back shots, getting free shots, buying drinks, getting beers, then people pulling up. And you see people on this similar kind of vibe because it was the weekend. It was early too, like early. And we're just getting fucked up. And we went to this one spot. It was across the street from Ace of Spades. It was like it's like a little Mexican food spot. Super cool, kind of like beachy kind of vibe, outside vibe too. So we go to walk in, and as I'm walking in, I was like, I gotta go take a piss. And he was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna order some shots. I'm like, all right, bet. So I go to walk to the back, and as I'm walking, I like, out of the corner of my eye, someone looked familiar. I look up, it's fucking MGK.
Oh, you see it.
Yeah, walking past me, pissed, like mad. And I was like, because I was drunk, so I'm like, looked up, I'm like, he's a tall dude, he's like 6'4", some shit like that, and he walks past me, he's mad, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, whatever. So I keep going. I go to the bathroom, I come out, and I go sit by my buddy at the bar, and I was like, do you know who I just fucking seen right now? And he's like, MGK. And I was like, yeah. I think he was performing at Ace of Spades across the street because the club.
Went to go pregame.
And he was there, and I guess what had happened was that he was wanting all of his food and drinks comped. And and something or other where they were like, dude, we're like a fucking small business, like we're gonna comp you and all of your people. And that was what I had heard anyways, like just from people kind of talking, because it was like he made a scene, you know.
Yeah.
And so Buddy was like, yeah, he's a real piece of shit, dude, like he's a fucking dickhead, you know. And he was outside, so then his security guards like basically blocked off the sidewalk where they were telling people they had to walk around him, or
so he could do kickflips,
so
right?
he could skateboard.
Yeah, that's
so,
what it was.
So he could sit there and fucking do his little thing right there. Now, when I know like MGK is a different human now, so like I try to give grace to people. Like he seems like he's a pretty solid guy. You never know,
Fox, bro.
Yeah, you never know what people are going through in that moment. You know, I don't know what the real conversation was that was had. All I know is that for the sake of the story, it was fucking hilarious. I was drunk and I was like, "What are the odds?" You know.
That's funny.
But yeah, we go through that whole night. And we go to, I mean, I was drinking everything under the sun, dude. And then we went to like a sushi spot. We got sake bombs there, whiskey cokes there, like ate a little bit, moved on to the next place. And we carried this on from probably like 2 p.m. all the way till about 2 o'clock at night. And yeah, got the most wrecked. And yeah, I found my way back to the hotel because I was staying out there. And I was so drunk the following day, I didn't know where my phone was. And I was like, oh no.
You lost it at the club?
No, I'm pretty good about never losing my shit. But like when I get to my location, then it's all bets are off. I start taking my stuff off, whatever. And then I'm like, dude, and my head was rocking, bro. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna survive. Like it was so bad that I was like, couldn't see straight. It was like a pounding migraine. I was dehydrated. I also couldn't find my phone. And the clock in the hotel was like 10:40. I had to be out of there by 11. And so I'm like scrambling to like figure out where my stuff is. I'm throwing all my stuff, whatever. And I go and I'm like, what do I do? So I remember I had a Bluetooth speaker. Do you need a...
No, it's all good.
I had a Bluetooth speaker. And I'm like, what can I do to find my phone? And so I grabbed the Bluetooth and I fucking, I forget what I did. I think I hit it and you could talk to it. And then I ended up through that finding my phone. Like, and so I forget exactly. I wish I could tell you how I did it, but it was like in the moment, it was fucking genius. I was like, dude, I used the speaker to find my phone. I found my shit. Basically, I got my stuff out of there. And then I just dry heaved in the car for like 2 hours.
Oh my God.
And then my buddy calls me. He's like, hey, you want to go get some food? I was like, fuck it. So I'm hungover. I'm so bad. And I've drive all the way back into downtown Sac to one of the most iconic places and some place that everybody should go to if you're in Sac, which is Burgers and Brew.
Burgers and
Brew is incredible. And we would go there all the time because they stay open late.
Open late.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it was so fucking good, and that's what we would do. And so we went there, I ate, and then I just toughed it out and made my way all the way home. But Sacramento, baby, got a place in my heart.
That's awesome. You know, I was supposed to go see Post Malone at Ace of Spades in Sacramento.
No shit.
Back in 2015, I think. But I didn't. So my you know, AG had, and I was supposed to go with him, but I ended up getting in a fight with my girl that day or something. So I was like, oh no, I can't go, you know. And then like her and I, we obviously didn't make it going. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But dude, I always regret that because I was like, dude, Post Malone when he was performing at Ace of Spades for like 100 people.
Yeah, probably just doing like White Iverson over and over.
Just on loop, bro.
That's
all of the
it. That probably some
stuff.
covers or something. Yeah.
Dude, I missed out on a golden opportunity. Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
jazz arenas.
I have a similar one in Sacramento at the Kings Arena. It was my homegirl. You know, God rest her soul, but you know, when she was with us, you know, she had got tickets because she's a huge fucking The Weeknd fan, right? So for her birthday, she had got tickets. She ended up having an extra because I think the person that was going to go with her, one of the other people that was going to go with her, ended up not going. She was like, hey, do you want to go? I know it's not really your thing, but like, just come and kick it. I'm like, all right, fuck it, whatever. Who cares? Like, I'll go. Because it's not something I would ever fucking do. I don't go to shows. I've never been that person. So I was like, I'll take the opportunity. So I go. And when we get there, we hear and see all this merch. It was like rodeo or whatever. It was fucking Travis Scott before Travis Scott was Travis
days
Scott.
before the rodeo.
Yeah, it was when he was doing his like he was like the opener.
90210 Travis Scott.
Yeah, and nobody was in there. People were still out getting their shit, buying their merch. A couple people that were like niched Travis Scott fans that knew who he was were like obviously, but I mean 10% of that stadium.
Crazy.
And not to be rude, but like I didn't even know. I was like, who the fuck is this? Like I didn't care. You know, I was
Dude from Texas.
and so we took our time, like we came in there at the very end when he was finishing up, I think one or two, maybe it was his last song. I don't have the best recall on that, but it was something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, right on. And I kind of was familiar, I think, with what I had heard. Like, oh, I think I've heard this before, but it wasn't no like radio smash. And then cut like a year or so later, fucking number one, like biggest dude in the world. I'm like, yo,
Antidote drop.
It's crazy, but yeah, the Weeknd put on a good show from what I can remember. There's a couple in front of me. It was a guy and two girls, and he was not in my position.
Is that a throuple or
that couple? Guy was? Yeah, he was probably took them like partying and sleeping with them or whatever. But they were passing a baggie of coke back and forth.
Sick.
And I was like, yeah, this guy's doing it right, dude.
That's funny.
So yeah, sorry, but yeah, that was where I was like, you never fucking know. You pass up on these opportunities to see somebody because you're like, like, I don't really know who they are. They're cool, but they like, especially with Post Malone, who would have called he would be what he is today?
No.
I'm sure when you originally heard him, you probably thought like White Iverson. He's another white dude with fucking braids, with gold teeth, and he's chubby. He didn't really have a bunch of tattoos, if I had any at the time. It was just kind of like a weird. You couldn't put your thumb.
It felt like a gimmick.
For sure. But that's also what blew that song up was because of the gimmick. It was like this, great, we have another fucking riffraff. We have another. Yeah. And nobody really knew the extent of his talent. It was super saturated with auto-tune. Mm-hmm. It was a niched, poppy kind of song.
Yeah.
It was like, to me, how it was when I first heard Shaboozey. And I'll always say this is how I'm fortunate enough to be able to say that I allow my mind to be changed. Like I always try.
At least you don't keep an open mind, bro.
Well, I was like, I didn't always have that. When I was young, I was like, I just didn't care.
Yeah.
But I just was like, let me fucking, like, I'm so curious. I was like, let me see, because I hate his fucking radio song. It's not that it's a bad song. I just fucking hate it. Like I hated White Iverson. Like to the ears, it's not like nails on a chalkboard. It's just what the radio does to it is what makes it terrible. It. And then I was like, I don't understand like the magnitude of this record. Like I just don't get it. But the same thing with Lil Nas X and like whatever, that Old Town Road. It's just one of those where you're like, okay, it's gonna the wave will come and it'll pass and then we'll be on to the next person.
Old Town Road went diamond.
Crazy, and that was all off the backbone of 5-year-old kids, bro. And that was it.
It went diamond.
Yeah. He was doing fucking gymnasiums with a bunch of like pre-K kids, dude. You know, and but so I went back and I was like driving to LA. Ironic as it was last time I was out there, and I was like, let me put on a fucking album. I was like, let me see what this Shaboozey guy has in store, because he's obviously big for a reason. I don't know anything about him. I judge him off that one record. Like exactly what happened with Post Malone. Now I love Post.
Exactly.
I'm like, let me check it out. Dude.
You fell in love.
2025 probably, if I was to put an album and a record to every year and I only could pick 3, that would be on my top 3 albums of 2025.
It's a big statement.
Dude, it's a great fucking album. Like he's talented as shit. Like the songs are awesome. Like the orchestration, the vibe, the mix between country and like this like, I don't really know, like a synth rap pop, whatever the fuck you want to call what they're doing these days, but it had like a beautiful twist that I think he did it well, and it made sense with his voice and his aesthetic. And I was like, that's awesome, dude. Good on you.
I got to listen to that.
It's a great album, bro. I think you're not I don't think you always, I mean, when I was in the studio and would play country, you'd be like, turn that shit off.
Dude, I hate country.
Put on some Arizona Gervais, dude, you know?
Yo, everybody hates on Arizona Gervais, bro, because all they know is Roxanne. But, dude, there's so much more to that artist than just Roxanne. Like,
he's talented. I just don't think his music's that great.
I think some of his lyrics are, like, very simple. You know, like the he chooses and certain words that he chooses to use in his rhymes, like stuff like that. Like, I think it's simple. He could be more complex. But I also realize his music's not meant for complex. His music's meant for like college kids that just want to
Yeah.
party. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't need lyrics that deep. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Cool and it's a vibe. And I feel like that's how a lot of music is too. Like Post Malone's White Iverson was a vibe. You could
Mhm.
feel it. You know, like the reverb, the like the just like how his voice is soloed and like you just hear like the pads underneath.
It just feels intentional, like it was orchestrated. That's a funny thing that we were able to
Distinguish.
yeah, we're able to pick that apart where like even people that don't know music and haven't put a record together, like you still feel that. You feel like when something has a wall built around it and then you're living inside of that.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, I'm in a moment right now." Like I'm hearing all this stuff around me that makes me feel enclosed, like I'm a part of this feeling. And then there's records that just feel like a copy paste. And unfortunately, people like if Post didn't go the route that he did, obviously he's super talented and they had like a mega team around him that ensured that he, became what he was. Um, for people that don't go that route, like Arizona Gervais or other people that want to stay independent or want to keep doing it on their own, if you're not a fucking like super genius when it comes to music and understanding that side of it, I think you probably do lose out on that. Where you then start to create a product for a specific audience, like the college tours and like this and that, and like the Vans Warped Tour, and you're like the middle guy that kind of comes up, and people are like, "Oh, I know that record, I'll go see him." And how do you ever get past that if you don't then grab on to what Shabuzi, like, dude, that record and the album is the way that it is because the team he had behind it. It's not like he's like the anomaly in that is Billie Eilish and her brother.
Yeah.
Other than that, like you need, because like they're fucking freaks, they're geniuses, like they're psychotic with their music and their method and the way that they put it together, and then it becomes what it is. That is an anomaly. Everybody else that wants to get to that level or be able to do those types of things, you usually need people that are like individually perfect at what they do.
And it's interesting because it's like when you find artists when they're first starting out, they make music for their niche fans, right? Just like
Right.
the select group of people, like Arizona Zerv is the college kids, right? That's the music he makes. But like, make it in that niche, how do you then branch out to mainstream? So like if you look at ASAP Rocky in 2010,
Yeah.
he started making music for his people in Harlem, like like Gangsta. It was chill, it was sick, it was like trippy with the DJ screw, like you know what I'm saying, like that effect that they would use.
Yeah.
Like Purple Swag, like that was meant for like
Aesthetically, the video, because that was when
I remember that
MTV videos were big.
yeah.
A lot of times the video would make the record.
Yeah, Purple Swag, it had that blonde girl with the grill.
Wiz Khalifa, Black and Yellow.
That too, like the
Yeah.
blonde girl with the grill was
Yep.
like lip syncing his chorus for him or whatever, and like that was such a vibe. And I remember that was during like the Karma Loop. Remember you used to buy clothes on Karma Loop, Diamond Supply, like all of that stuff.
Yep.
Scale was ASAP Rocky's
Plunder.
brand. Yeah,
Do you remember Plunder?
I remember Plunder.
Yeah.
So like that was a whole era, right? But he was making music just for that select group in Harlem, But then like we know ASAP is like a mega superstar now, right? What happened? What changed? I'll tell you what changed. 1 year after Purple Swag, 1 year after ASAP's first mixtape that hit the streets, I went to a Drake show in 2011 in Fresno at the Save Mart Center. It was maybe a 6,000 cap venue or something like that. And everybody was there to see Drake. He was coming off of Take Care. He was going crazy. It was the Club Paradise tour, actually. And you want to know the two people that opened for Drake at that show? Kendrick Lamar, ASAP Rocky.
Yeah.
The openers that nobody gave a shit about at that show.
And look at how Kendrick is now regarded as
Better.
possibly the best
Ever.
lyricist and rapper, arguably, of all time.
I agree with that because Kendrick's very different. I think like that voice he does, when he's like mocking things or whatever, like I don't even know how to characterize his voice, but everybody knows that iconic voice. When he changes his tone,
Yeah.
like that's very fresh. Not a lot of rappers are able to do that without sounding corny.
Yeah.
For some reason, it just works for him though.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question, two-parter. One is, we always end up going down a road and never get to what we initially So
Yeah.
are you cool still on this path, or do you want to?
No, we can move it along, whatever you're feeling.
I'm just saying. I know, like, I always feel bad because we're like we have certain topics,
Yeah.
and then like I didn't expect for us to start talking about music.
I know. But that's just because we both love music.
Yeah.
But we could transition.
Okay. Let me say this thought and then segue it. However,
You got it.
But it is that. How do you feel about that? And then if you're interested, I'll give you my take on it because I've thought about this the other day, and it's been something that I've kind of been working out in my head as far as like I don't know how I feel about this, but people that say, oh, greatest of all time in any facet, in anything, like, because we're talking about music, use music for an example. Obviously the big one that everybody talks about is basketball with like MJ Jordan and Kobe
LeBron and
and or I said MJ Jordan, and fucking Jordan, LeBron and Kobe. You know, and then now people are sprinkling on other people like, oh, you're gonna say that, but you're not gonna put Magic in there. It's like, pump the fucking brakes.
I think there's
pump
categories
the brakes,
for
right?
all of that.
Right. Okay. So that's my thing. So we could just get back into the music for the sake of it. But like when people say like, oh, like Kendrick is arguably, if not, he's not even arguably, he is the best rapper of all time. Look at what he does and his cadence and his pockets and his changes and this, that, and third and everything under the sun that he does. And then look at Drake and then, but what about album sales? Because if you put it down to album sales, Drake is blowing everybody out of the water. He's the Beatles, He's the Beatles of da-da-da analytically. Yeah. But like, what about impact and what about culture? And it's like, so I'll pass that over to you. What do you think about that as like a totality on saying that one person is the greatest of all time? And would you die on that hill?
No, I think with music and with sports and with any sort of entertainment, there's categories for everything. One person can't be multifaceted in the way to where they are the stands a chance, because then otherwise we wouldn't have these discussions. Right. We wouldn't be talking about like possibilities, like, oh, is Drake the best? Is Kanye the best? Is Kendrick the best? It's like there's so many possibilities because there's so many people that can qualify for that title, you know? So then you got to narrow it down. Like commercially, analytically, he's the best because of the album sales, because of the number of Billboard songs. He literally has more hits than the Beatles, you know? He rapped about that in a song too. Yeah. That was
years before he even climbed to his peak.
Yeah,
and he was already surpassed.
So commercially, yes, Drake. Culturally, I think that could be Kendrick. I think Kendrick's big for the culture and just hip hop in general. Like based on the roots, what hip hop is, that's the closest resemblance to like West Coast culture we have in a modern day. Okay. Musically, Kanye, because Kanye has like every song that's a Kanye song has humongous moments in it that are carefully curated and cultivated to like sit around his vocal like beautifully. Like I think Kanye's the best in terms of sampling. He uses the most samples out of all of these artists too. Right. Derive stuff from like songs from like the 1900s, you know, and turns it into like a modern day smash. So I think every rapper has their own thing. Lyrically, you know, that one, people say Cole, you know, but I here's what I think, like early J. Cole, the warm-up J. Cole, like very early J. Cole, I think would have been good for that conversation. But I think J. Cole, tempo-wise, is just hard for me to keep attention when listening to him.
Yeah, dude.
Tempo's always at like 76 or something. It's just really slow.
Why? His fucking music, and I sound like a hater, and I don't really care. I think he's talented. But like his music is the most fucking mundane.
It's just very slow.
Not exciting. Fucking diary entry type shit. Like it seems, and I'm not that he is prolific with the pen and his mind, but I think it would be best served as if he did something else. Like if he was like a philosopher or an activist in some way and was like giving speeches and like trying to fix whatever. It's like that's what I think he has, like that. You know, he looks like the Rastafarian kind of vibe. Like he looks like a guy that you would then take
basketball,
which is crazy. And like I said, I like not to take away from his talents because he is super talented. That's obvious. Like he is up there with talks about, but I think it's because the way that he acknowledges himself is what makes people be like, no, buddy, no, you're not that good. Like you're not that fucking good. There's nothing you said that was that prolific that puts you where Kendrick is, because like the music isn't as impactful. Like the bars are great, like whatever. He does these like double entendres, but a lot of this shit goes over people's head because he's so into the lyricism and the pen that it falls away to like the lackluster orchestration of the music.
The general public.
Like the stuff that got him pop. Like if he was putting out the shit that he does now as like the key to get him popping, it would not work. He'd be sitting there like everybody else, probably having a niche group of people that listen to him, but he wouldn't be what's the da 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 good thing. Oh, workout. Okay.
Yeah.
So that
Sampled
was
Janet Jackson.
that was the shit that like made him big. It was
but
like
he was ashamed of that song. Did you know that?
But I understand because that goes against like what he is his narrative. Like he is like the prolific guy. Like, but the same thing happened with Kendrick. If Kendrick didn't have like Pour Up and songs like that, he wouldn't.
Pools.
Yeah, Swimming Pools. He wouldn't be where he is. Like the first song I heard by Kendrick, I thought he was dog shit. I was like, who the fuck is this? This is terrible.
Which one was it?
It was it ADHD or whatever?
Are you fucking kidding me?
It was
my favorite song of all.
It was the
fucking
first
time.
one that like was like to the public. Like it was like
you didn't like ADHD
in a liquor store, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was terrible.
What?
I just didn't get it. I think it grew on me later, and I was like, okay, it's not bad.
Dude, are you serious? That is like, I'm not even joking. That is my song of all time.
Really?
Of all fucking
Of all time? That's
all
that's a
fucking
crazy
time.
statement.
Because
dog.
of the vibe, the feeling behind ADHD.
Yeah. So if I went back and listened to it, like I said, because I allow myself to be changed, like my mind to be changed. It's not that I would say like, oh, I would die on that hill. I'm just saying that where I was in my life and my age and what I was doing, also as a rapper and making music, you compare, and not only you compare, you kind of like just sometimes don't understand it, and it makes you kind of shitty. That's why you keep those comments to yourself. And you don't want to go out being like, yeah, it's fucking dog. No, I just keep it to myself because that's just not my taste.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing it as like I'm better. Like you'll never hear that come out of my mouth. I don't think I'm better than anybody. The thing is though, is like when something in the realm of what you do doesn't make sense, you kind of like what am I not getting here? What's not clicking for me? For me, like Cole and Kendrick and Logic and artists like that I just don't get. Like I can't stand Logic, dude.
I know.
I know.
I
And
love
like,
Logic.
it's just so funny that us being in the studio all those years, it's like the things that you would like, you would buy merch, you'd read his book, same thing with Russ, and I'm like, I can give a fuck less about these guys.
Yeah.
Like half the time I don't even listen to rap. I listen to classic rock and country and other things that then give me my.
So then, why do you want to be a rapper instead of a rock star?
It's because of where I grew up. Like, if you were to get into a studio, I'm not gonna find guys that are slanging drugs and also fucking rip the bass guitar. You know, like nobody's. They're bagging up fucking weed and drugs.
Yeah.
They're not in there fucking putting an amp and a guitar together, being like, hey, let's fucking jam. That's just not the world I grew up in. So because I had flow and because I was able to write, like the black kids that I was around that were my brothers and my good friends growing up, we all had a similarity of like we grew up in poverty. Like we just talk the shit, we shoot the shit, we gas each other all the time. Like, you know, we were always kind of doing the same things, and then it was like they were rapping, so they would try and get me to rap. Like all this stuff. Like they were the ones that would force me to say the N-word.
That's crazy.
Like obviously no hard R, but like I would never fucking say it because I had too much respect for them, and I knew it was like not culturally appropriate.
But just toying with.
But no, but in the hood or in the neighborhoods that are like what we grew up in, that was like it's a different thing when you're in a small group or a small culture like that. It's like they want you to be able to say it because that makes you one of them. Like they say it as a term of endearment and camaraderie, and like that's my brother, that's my da.
Yeah.
So then they would be like, "Yo, you have to say it." And I'll be like, "No." I stood on that forever. No. They were like, "Let me break it down why I need you to say it." And it's funny because I've heard somebody else say this late years as an adult, but like as a kid, bro, they were like, "Let me tell you why you need to say it." And I'm like, "Why?" And they were like, "Because that's how we're gonna know if you're racist or not."
What? That makes no sense.
I know as a kid it doesn't, but it's funny because I was like, what the fuck do you mean? I was like, you guys are my friends. Like, of course I'm not racist. They're like, no. They're like, because we have to know how it sounds. Like, does it sound racist when it comes out of your mouth?
They're not going to give you a direction on how to say it. They just want to hear how you're going to say it naturally.
They were like, bro, we just need to hear you say it. And I was like, and so I said it and they were like, yeah, you good now. You got to keep saying it. Like, it was like, It was so funny, bro, and I never forgot. But they were like, "Yo, you're good." Like it didn't sound racist. I remember it was a big thing, and
Of course, it sounds racist.
no, they said it didn't.
I know, but it does.
Oh, if I was like, I wouldn't go around my white folks, or I wouldn't go around, like whatever, and start saying that, or like some OG, black people saying it.
You pick and chose when.
But with us, they wanted me to say it. Now, I would say it with them, like that's what we would say to one another, like. And then as I got older, I was like, okay, like all the white kids said it, all the Hispanic kids, all the Asian kids, like in class, in school, everybody was each other's N-word.
Especially here.
Bruh. And
one here, no matter what race you are, they always said the N-word.
Yeah, and also growing up, none of the black kids or Hispanics or Asians got any kind of racism out here.
Yeah.
Nobody picked on the black kid.
Everyone picked on the Indian kids.
Well, y'all had a stigma out here that has persisted through all the years, which is like the liquor store. And,
Bro, 9/11 was the worst time of my life.
Truck, yeah, and all that stuff.
Like,
So
that wasn't even us, bro. And
also, it's the funniest accent to.
It is.
So it's like that's one of the first ones that kids learn how to do it, and I do it to you sometimes. But it's like, but what I mean though is like it was never out of like, oh, let's go get the Indian kid. No, it's like you probably have some people that like don't fuck with you or whatever. But growing up, like it was fair game. If you were just not cool or you were like an asshole, you were gonna have funk with somebody. It had nothing to do with color. I'm sure there are some obviously racist people, but it wasn't like an abundant thing where I feel like everybody just kind of was like, that's my crew, that's my people, that's my friends. You could be black, I'm with my black friends, and if you're not cool, like I don't like you. It goes beyond your skin color. It's you as a human. And I think that like when people grow up in a similar environment where everybody's broke, you don't got time to be racist.
That's true. Everybody's just trying to struggle.
Everybody's just trying to be like, hey, what do I gotta do? Like, who are my people around me that are gonna like make me feel like this doesn't suck as bad? And so that was my experience. So growing up, when people were like always like, oh, you don't know what I've been through and how hard it is, I'm like, maybe for you wherever you came from, but here that's not how it was. And so that term I had to work out of. I did it early on. Like I worked out of my vocabulary early on. And it was more so when we all started growing up and splitting up, and that wasn't my group no more. And you don't want to take that lingo into another group. And people started becoming a little, and social media became a thing. You don't want to get caught on camera saying some off-colored remarks. Back then, it was like, bro,
free game.
Like nobody's gonna be like, oh,
no one's gonna tell on you.
It was always just love, and so it's funny how that, changes. I don't know how we got here, but.
Yeah, I know, that's funny.
But there was just a funny story. They were like, I need you to say it.
I mean, it all depends on the community that you're part of, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of community,
I knew you were gonna carry on that.
Baby.
Yep.
Speaking,
that's why I said it.
Speaking of the community, you have started a Discord community, or in the process of launching it, for cancer survivors and people that are also going through the journey themselves in this current time. No matter what area they are in their cancer journey, is a platform for people to come together, be able to talk about their experiences and things like that.
Yep, exactly, awesome, man. You said it beautifully. Yeah, so I decided, you know what? I always wanted to go to a cancer support group because, like, I thought it would be a cool idea to meet other people that are going through the same thing, regardless of our ages, regardless of anything, our races, our ages, the way we look or the way we act, whatever. Like, the one thing that unites all of us is this horrible disease,
Right.
And I always wanted to go to the person, but the problem was whenever I was in chemo, I was so sick from the chemo, I didn't not want to leave my house. So it was really hard to show up to these groups, and like there was one at my cancer center. It was the last Thursday of every month, but I was in chemo on Tuesdays. So on Thursdays, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what, like now that I'm in remission, now that everything is, hopefully over for the most part for me, like I have this beautiful platform online, like filled with people that are still currently going through it, people that have through it, people that are caregivers, people that are in remission, whatever the case may be. I have all these people online that, I wanted to build a home for, to like everybody that is in my comment section, like comment section, let's turn this into like a real community.
Yeah.
So I figured the best way for us to do this, like, let me launch a Discord. Let me have like a big group chat, essentially, like an organized group chat. Everybody can hop in here, share their stories. Like I'm gonna have different categories. I'm gonna have one for like chemo selfies. You know, I want everybody that's in chemo post a photo of you in chemo. You know, throw a thumbs
Yeah.
up on there. Show people that like,
Update
hey,
photos of how they're feeling, where they're at,
exactly,
what their stage is.
exactly.
Nice.
Spread some positivity so that people don't feel so alone.
Yeah.
You know, because cancer is very isolating. You know, like a lot of the times it takes over somebody's life, and you know, because of that, you're immunocompromised. You can't go out in public like how you used to. You
Mhm.
can't used to. And us as human beings, we all crave that sense of community. So I figured, you know what, like for the people that, you know, are stuck at home because they're sick, like let's turn this community online, man. Like you have the access to the world at your fingertips with a cell phone. Everybody has an iPhone, an Android, whatever the case is, you know. So why not create a community specifically for us? You know, the cancer survivors, the cancer patients, the people currently going through this. And I decided, you know what, the best name I could think of would be Surviving the Shock, which kind of goes off my own name, you know, ibeshocker, because cancer is a shock to most people.
Right,
you know?
right.
Once you get that diagnosis, it's like your world shifts upside down. You don't know, like everything is just like one big confusion, and you start like disassociating. You start being less present, you know, because mentally it's a battle too. It's not just
Right.
physically a battle. So I figured surviving the shock, man. Like, how do we survive this thing that has, you know, that are in this community? And I figured the best way to do it is if we all share our thoughts with each other, you know,
Yeah.
like encourage each other, give each other hope, and you know, spread positivity.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking awesome, dude. That's incredible. I think that's super great. I think if being that we're wanting to do a little bit more of interviews,
Yes.
there is a specific like type of person I would be very interested in us, you know, speaking with, and I'm curious as to somebody's testimony and story of them going through cancer, but
Yeah.
during COVID.
Oh, that's a good one.
I would love to hear somebody's like reality, because I know how that was, me having CF, and like it was like this big. I was the only one that around me that called bullshit, and I was like, I'm not fucking buying it. Like, and it's not to make it about that, but I just like I'm like that with anything, dude. Like I gotta see the bullet in my body before I'm like believe I got shot. You know what I mean? Like I'm just always gonna be like, fuck off, no. Like we're good. I'm good. Everything's cool. Chill out. But it just seemed like everything ramped up so fucking quick that everybody was on my line. Like, are you okay? What's going on? Like, you know, it's a respiratory thing. It's in the air. It's not in the air. It's over here. It's over there. It's on the counters. It's on this. It's on the packages. Wash your shoes. Wash your clothes. Take your clothes off outside before you come inside. It was like this abundant. And I'm like,
Slow down.
take it down. Take it down. I almost won it, so you'll shut the fuck up. Like, geez, and I got COVID. And I was fine. I have a fucking lung disease. I was fine. But that's not necessarily the story for everybody. My testimony would be different.
Yeah.
My testimony would probably piss some people off, because they'd be like, what? I got less of what some people got that are fucking no disease, no ailment, and they got down bad. And it's like, you know, I'm very active in the gym. I take my vitamins. I'm super on top of my health and like being proactive and all this stuff. And granted, you know, at that time during COVID, I was like drinking the most that I had drank. I was, you know, partying, vibing, doing whatever. I really wasn't in the gym at the time, but I've always been proactive and I've always been healthy. But I'm just saying, like, that would be my story. So it'd be an interesting compared to, like, I would love to hear from somebody with CF, like, what did they go through in that time?
Yeah.
You know, because being immune compromised in general, imagine then you're in this, like, this sphere of people that are, like, all on an even playing ground or playing field of, like, dealing with the fear of COVID, and you have cancer, and you have CF, and you have XYZ. So I would love to hear from somebody and their story of, like, the mental strain that takes on you to just come to terms with having cancer, but you're also living in a sick world.
That's true.
So,
you know, I never thought about that either. And if anybody watching this, you know, can relate to that or has been through that, you know,
Reach out, man.
hit me in my DMs. You know, we would
Yeah.
love to have you on the podcast, you know, do an interview. If you had chemotherapy during COVID, you know, those were like the most uncertain times, and as well as like the most understaffed times in hospitals, in
Right.
medical care.
Well, because people were afraid to go even into the hospital.
Yeah.
People were afraid. They were like, "You mean to tell me if I go to the hospital, I have even a higher percentage of a chance of getting COVID?"
Yeah.
So sorry, but
No,
yeah.
no.
To your point, and then people were not wanting to work, and it was like essential, and then they were nervous, and so it was,
Yeah. Imagine being like at the cancer center,
Yeah.
severely understaffed, your chemo, but everybody is afraid for their own lives because
Right.
of COVID. You know, like the uncertainty in the air.
can people with cancer interact with other people with cancer, or do they tell you that you should not
I mean,
cross pollinate?
if you think
Or
about
is it more or less, sorry, but just so
Yeah.
it's more clarity on the question, like for instance with cystic fibrosis, at any scale, any time of your life, any level, you cannot interact with one another in person. Yeah, so if you ever seen that movie, was it 6 feet or whatever?
6 feet apart.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Dylan Sprouse, one of the whatever brothers,
Yeah.
plays one of the characters, I believe. And him and it's a love story, and the girl they both have cystic fibrosis, and they can't be together because of this.
Really?
Yeah, because you the way that it goes with your genes and like saliva and stuff like that is, you can, if you have a different gene than mutation than I do, we can cross infection. So if I have a different infection in my lungs than you do, like say Pseudomonas, and you have a certain kind of staph, right? To you and your body, that staph may be manageable, but if I got it, depending on my gene, it could be life-threatening to me, and vice versa. And so you spread, and it goes into your lungs by talking with one another in the same room. You're supposed to wear a mask. You're supposed to be separated, and it's like 6 feet apart.
So when you're in the hospitals for cystic fibrosis,
You're always in separate rooms. There's no congregating. There's no,
wow.
yeah,
Do support groups.
online. There's no physical in person.
Wow.
The closest that we got to that was like we would do walkathons,
Uh-huh.
but everybody was separate. Your family's over here, they're over there. You know, everybody's kind of outside. It's not like an enclosed environment. It's a little different. So yeah, that was like always growing up. It was like, yeah, you can't, make sure your partner, you don't find out they have CF or whatever. And also too, whenever you want to have a child, you got to make sure that the other person doesn't carry the gene, because it takes two people to have the gene in order to transfer it for the person to have cystic fibrosis. So
did both your parents have the gene?
my mom and my father both carried the gene. I ended up with CF. My sister, which is my full sister, same mom, same dad, she didn't. She's a carrier.
Wow.
So it just rolled the dice. I got it. She was a year and some change after me.
Mm-hmm.
Carrier. My half brother, same dad, different mom. He's a carrier, but because my stepmom doesn't have it, he's even less of a carrier, but he still carries.
Wow.
So
I did not know that.
interesting stuff. Yeah. So that's why I always wonder, like with cancer, because of chemo and bodily fluids, is it more or less just like a hygiene thing? Like, or is it more of a, like, be careful because you have Hodgkin's lymphoma and this person has, bone cancer or whatever.
Yeah.
And you don't want to, or is that not the case?
No, that's not the case. Like, cancer is not contagious. Cancer, you can't spread from one person to another based on this person has Hodgkin's, this person has bone cancer, leukemia, whatever. Like, you can't spread cancer through like contact, through saliva, through fluids. You can't spread cancer. What you can do though is with chemotherapy, when you guys are on chemo, you guys have different sorts of like chemicals going through your body. So like
the regimen's different.
The regimen's different for everybody. And not just that, it's like if you're on chemo, you don't want to spread saliva, you don't want to spread bodily fluids, you don't want to spread anything like that to people that are not on.
Yeah.
Because the chemo's meant for your body. Your genes are the ones that are messed up.
Right.
Chemo deletes genes. Chemo destroys genes. It's like a bomb going into like your system. So if you are spreading that bomb to somebody that doesn't need it, you're putting them at risk to mutate their own DNA. Right now, their DNA is fine. Their DNA is not mutated. So if you throw in a bomb into their DNA and mutate their DNA, chances are over time with enough exposure, their DNA can mutate to eventually form cancer cells. So that's kind of how it works. And that's why I made a video one time that pissed off a lot of people because I said that you shouldn't share a bathroom with somebody that's going through chemo. And they were saying like, oh, cancer is not contagious. I'm like, you're right. Cancer is not contagious. But if you're transferring fluid from the chemotherapy that you're taking, that fluid and that exposure to chemo in a healthy person can mutate their genes over time. And that mutation in their genes over time could possibly later down the line link to a cancer mutation.
Oh shit.
How it works. And that's why they tell you at the cancer center too. It's like, hey, if you're going to be going through chemo, like try not to share a bathroom with anybody. If you're sleeping in the same bed as your partner, put like a blanket between you guys so that like your sweat doesn't link, while you're sleeping. People with chemo, they experience night sweats,
Yeah.
So like you don't want to expose anybody to that because like the chemo, it's a poison, it is a poison. But if you have cancer, it'll poison your cancer and kill, but it'll poison your good cells too.
Right, because it's eradicating everything.
Everything.
Hold on 2 seconds. What are we in for right now?
I don't know. It doesn't tell me on
Okay,
here.
I'm just gonna make sure that this is.
I think we're just in for an hour.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
I'm leaving this in. I'm not cutting it out to be pretty for you guys. I just had to check and make sure that one, that's still recording, and two, what time we're on.
We're good.
But yeah, I find that shit to be interesting. But I would like to hear a little bit more of other people's like testimonies, because I think that that's also a great opportunity to bring people from your support group to, if they have like an interesting story that they want to share, and it would be great to then also be able to kind of bring that over to here and then help boost and bring more, awareness as far as using all your platforms to talk about your support group, because it's important, man, in all areas of that. There's a lot of people that, like I said, I'm not a great testimony all the time for cystic fibrosis, because I hear things constantly that I'm like, like, holy crap, like a lot of people have feeding tubes in that are grown adults. Like I remember they used to tell me that as a kid. They were like, you're having such a hard time gaining weight, like we want to put a feeding tube in you. And because my mom's such a fucking G, and she's just so like,
he advocated against it.
She just was like, I'll wake him up every fucking hour of the night and give him a protein shake. And so like I had Scandi shakes and Ensures and Boost and all these different like nutritional drinks. She'd wake me up. She'd be like, here, and she'd bring it to me. I would chug it and go right back to bed. And it was like, it was stuff like that. She was so fucking dedicated to like my health and me and making sure that I was okay. And she was like, let's do everything we can first before we resort into doing that. And she's like, and then if we have to, we have to. But right now we don't have to. So let's do what we can. And I love that she instilled that in me, because it's like this taking accountability and taking ownership of your situation, and not just being like, fix me to the doctor. Like, put it in my stomach. Fuck it. It's like, wait. There's stuff we could do. Like, let's discipline ourselves. Let's. Oh, she's like, I'll get up. Don't even. I was a little kid, and like she did, bro. And look at me. I didn't need it. And I'm not gonna say like this isn't like a one size fits all. I'm just saying that like this is my experience. So then whenever I see that there are some kids that, they didn't question things, or they absolutely needed it or whatever, everything's gonna be different for everybody. But then they get on, a feeding tube, and they're doing all their aerosols, and they're doing their Monarch with this like vest that would shake you and stuff, and doing the flutter and mucus removal, and they're in like constant pain from their bones and their joints. And that was one that I heard the other day from a support group on it was on Instagram, and they posted like asking people to talk about like their pain level. And some people were like, not some, there tons of them were like, it's agonizing and it's debilitating, it's mentally draining. And I'm like,
wow,
from what? Like, it's like I'd never
experienced it.
I did, yeah. Like I have little issues, but that's like mostly is from my own doing. It's because I've gotten in accidents time and time again. I've beaten my body up from falling off stuff and skateboarding, dirt bike riding, motorcycle accidents, car accidents, like so many things that have happened that I know why my issues are. And then obviously with cystic fibrosis, you have bone density problems. You're more likely to get cirrhosis of the liver from drinking alcohol. You're more likely to be diabetic. All these things. You're supposed to be to some degree immune compromised, where you're more likely and easily to get sick. Dehydration, because the salt in the water does not mix through the lining of your lungs, and therefore you're constant in a state of dehydration, which makes the mucus thick, which then causes bacteria, which then causes deterioration and then causes death, right? So that's like the way that that type of shit happens. Yeah, you get polyps, things like that, and like some stuff that I have had and haven't had, and I had have a 4 hour long extensive surgery to have polyps removed from my nasal passages and things like that. But there's just tons of things from people that live with CF that have a different gene, that have different mutations, different things that they face that I never fucking, I just, because it's not my reality. So I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing. And so it makes me very fortunate, even though from what I have faced, I do see the side of what I deal with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. So to be able to maybe have a little bit more of those conversations or getting more information on my end of that
Yeah.
for how it pertains to me is important, because I'm like, it's just so interesting. And it's the same thing for you when you're creating this platform where people can share their testimony and share their experience. You're like, holy cow. Like, until you advocated for researching things on your own and also being open to asking questions to the doctor and get this information, I'm sure you wouldn't have known what chemo could do to the pipes in your bathroom, or what it could do for sharing a bathroom with other people,
Yep.
or what sexual intimacy looks like, or what reproductive it looks like, or how this is going to affect your heart and things like that after chemo, and what does post look like. It's like all of that is what brings such a viable awareness to people that otherwise wouldn't have
Those
looked,
resources.
wouldn't have used the resources, wouldn't have used the community because they don't know where to go. And so it's like they say in the Bible, it's like, build it and they shall come. It's like, if you're tasked to build something, if you're tasked in your heart to know that this is what is being called from you right now, it's like you build it and they will come. The people that are meant for it, they will come. They will be there. They will find this, sanctuary in such a fragile state in their life, into a place where they have community, and there is strength in community. And the other day, whenever I was speaking on AA, and I was saying that I think that is like one of the strongest and best things about it, is like having the sense of community. It's like sometimes even in silence, just to know that you're sitting in a room with people that are going through what you're going through, you don't feel as alone.
Yeah.
Like
the other day, somebody had hit me up on my TikTok DMs. His name is Pablo. He's a student at university. He hit me up because he wanted to write a capstone project about like cancer survivorship. He was a testicular cancer survivor as well, and he wanted to reach out to me to kind of get more info on my story and like why I wanted to create the TikTok platform.
Yeah.
And we had a really good conversation, man. And he was even telling me too, like after we had spoken, that he feels like a lot better talking to somebody about this, because he didn't talk to anybody when he went through all of this. And then he was just like, that's crazy, just having like a one-on-one with me. He was able to like kind of relive it in a sense, but not in a bad way, in a way where it's like, oh shit, like I am not the only person going through this, like we are all going through this thing. And I think it's like, how you were saying CF looks different for everybody. Like same thing with cancer.
Right.
Be different for everybody.
Yeah.
Like my cancer, Hodgkin lymphoma, I won't be able to relate to somebody that has adenocarcinoma, stomach cancer, like my mom. Like I won't be able to relate to that. That's a different type of cancer. That's like a different type of procedures. You need different whole regimen of chemo. I had the ABVD regimen. She's gonna get FLOT, which is totally different. So it's like we all are experiencing different things, but at the same time, it's still the same thing.
Right. The umbrella.
Yeah.
It's cancer. It's scary. It's life-threatening. It's physically demanding and altering. It's spiritually demanding and altering. And then to know that, like, regardless of the type that you're facing, you are facing it together. You are all living under this. And so it's a shared experience, even if the experience itself is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And so you look across the table and they're fighting a battle that you're fighting, or you fought, or you're gone through. And that power of community and being able to sit and look in another person's eyes and to reflect this shared, like, openness to have the conversation, but also a connectiveness to know that, like, you're not alone.
Yeah.
And that's important, because too many times in general, away from ailments and anything, I think loneliness is an ailment. I think, it's, and for a lot of people, that's like what people walk around in a state of, even whenever they don't have to face these things, they're lonely, they're sad, they don't have community, they don't have close friends, they don't have a platform or an area in which to talk. So that's like the state of majority of people in general. And then to know that like you have a subset group of people that are facing these life-threatening things, and they are also having the same human experiences of being alone, and even more so now because they're like, nobody can understand this. Everybody can understand having a shit day at work.
Yeah.
Like, can you understand what it's like to dread the day chemo comes around because you finally started to feel good and get your appetite back, and then you know you have to go get chemo for hours at a time, and then you have a short, maybe couple hour window of fighting against being tired before you know this next wave of fucking pain and bullshit's gonna come, and then you're back to not feeling good. You're back to fighting off this urge to throw up, even though you have nothing to throw up, and then you know, it's like, I hope I'm doing a good example of
so for
explaining
somebody that hasn't even experienced it, you nailed it.
But it's like,
You nailed it.
It's this fucking reoccurring wave, and you're like, gosh darn it, like I keep getting beat down and back up and beat down and back up, and that gives you a sense of feeling alone, that you're like, oh, nobody gets this.
Because when you're going through cancer, chances are the majority of the people around you are healthy. Chances are you don't know anybody else going through cancer. It's just you.
Right.
You know, a lot of people, like in our social circles, it's only one of us going through it. Like between us and all of our friends, like I was the only one that went through it.
And you could only hear, like, I'm so sorry, it's gonna be okay. Like, hang in there. Like, you look good. Like, there's only so many times you can hear that. Where you're like,
you're strong. It's like, dog, I didn't choose to be strong,
you're
bro.
like, I get it. Thank you. Like, I love you, but like,
yeah.
All right, then.
And I tell people all the times, like, I don't feel like I'm strong. I feel like I'm desensitized because, dude, I've done over 100.
Yeah.
You know, like I can go look at the labs for everything. I've gotten over 100 blood tests over the course of 9 months. It's only September. You know, I've gotten 2 surgeries. I'm going to get a third once I get this port taken out. I've gotten 12 rounds of chemo. I've gotten therapy. I've gotten 4 PET scans. Like, I've done all of this in 9 months, bro. And I don't know a single person in my personal life that has done the same.
Right.
So that's why it's like community and creating a support group online. Like, that's where I found my comfort.
Yeah.
Making these videos online, that's where I found my room to grieve and kind of process everything I'm going through. Like, the same way I'm creating videos for other people that are going through it and like to watch my videos, it's like I'm also doing it for myself. It's my own form of therapy. It's kind of speaking into my diary, you know, like I treat the camera like a friend. I treat the camera like the person in the room next to me. You know, and you know, just meeting so many awesome people online, that's changed my whole perspective on just like cancer and like you know, because like that's something I was always like looking after, you know, like what is my purpose, what value do I bring to the world, you know? And I feel like this cancer experience, it was fucking shitty as hell, you know, but it did give me a sense of purpose and kind of what I could do on a mass scale, you know, like I never thought I would get cancer. I never thought I'd become a cancer influencer, quote unquote, you know, like, but I feel like all of those things needed to happen to show how much impact I could have on the world. And, you know, even when we were making music, I always told everybody like, oh, I'm trying to shock the world, you know, like play off my name. And it's like, I feel like I did, you know, I feel like, you know, I defied the odds, you know, I'm here. You know, like I created this amazing community. It's like, I'm proud of all of those things.
And this is a new seed that is being planted with this Discord server, you know, and the cross-pollination that you have there from your social media platforms, this podcast, the Discord, and being able to be there and give people a voice, give people a place to go to, give people, you know,
providing a platform.
That's awesome, man. And you know, I think it's fucking great. I think with that said, you know, it might be a good way of wrapping it.
I think so.
For today, because I think that's I don't want to water down everything that you just said and the way that kind of came full circle by adding on, because we keep going and going and going, and I know there's always other topics that we could get to, but I think like that's a great place to just let that be the final statement of the day, so that way for everybody out there that is interested, whenever the Discord does go live, we will address that on here, on all the social media platforms for anybody that is interested. And it's going to be open to the public. So anybody that just wants to just go on there and just be able to look at other people's stories and and read, and then they could understand like what these different forms of cancer are, what these different stories are from everybody. And I think that's awesome for the curious person like myself that, you know, is not going through that still could go on there and then hear from people that are, and it gives you a little bit more of clarity on like, you know, I've learned so much from sitting and talking with you about it and watching you go through this, and hearing from you on, you know, okay, what's this? So what's that? Oh, and then you explaining it to me. I'm like, wow, like I always thought chemo was one size fits all.
Yep.
You just blast them, and then you go through it, you get bald, you get off of it, and then you carry on, and then hopefully it doesn't come back. I didn't realize that there's different regimens. There's different things that can happen based off of the chemo. There's different lengths of it. There's
adjuvant chemo where it's like, I think that one is like chemo surgery chemo. So it's like there's different types of regimens that you have to go through depending what you have. There's people that need blood transfusions throughout all of chemo.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that need multiple surgeries, liver ablations. Like I made a good friend, Jesse, online. He runs his own TikTok, you know, about his own cancer journey.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's been doing great, you know, like when he first started, 85% of his liver was covered with tumors. And then now it's almost looking like none.
Wow.
He's very close to being done. He's done over 66 rounds of chemo and
Yeah.
And he's buff dude, likes to mountain bike, likes to film, direct, photography.
Incredible.
Yeah. Hell of a story, man.
That would be another great one to
Yeah, I reached out to him to be a potential guest. He also reached out to me.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So maybe you guys could do a little trade-off. You go on his and then have him come on ours, and we could chop it up or whatever. But no, that might be a good topic to have into the next one, is like how the physicality of like there's some people that are in the gym and working out daily and fit and doing all the right things, mountain biking, swimming, and they end up with cancer.
Yeah.
And you're like, but you don't eat the sugar, you don't eat the trans fats, you don't eat the this, you don't need to do that, like you don't smoke cigarettes. Like, how the fuck did you get cancer? You know, you're in the gym, you're taking vitamins. Like how did you, like, that would be, well, that's what I'm saying. Like that would be like, you know, and I'm gonna do a little homework too, because I would like to, out of my own intrigue and curiosity, like, is it from family? Because it's in your family,
genetics,
and so you're likely to have that gene mutation in your body already. That's like dormant tumor cells that then manifest over time. That it was inevitable. It was just a matter of time that it would happen. You know, because like you hear like little kids that get it at birth and this and that, and like sometimes they don't get it till way later in life, and they're doing all the right things. And then some people that eat fucking burgers and smoke cigarettes and drink liters of Mountain Dew,
healthy,
and they're motherfuckers other than just wheezing when they talk and breathe. It's like they're good. So, you know, so tune in next week because we're gonna be talking about the 1,000-pound sisters and how the hell, you know. But that's like, truthfully, it'd be funny to talk about that. But like, if you've seen their transformation, they went from weighing 1,000 pounds to losing everything, going under surgeries to get their skin removed, like completely changing their life. And so that might be interesting to talk to about the modifications of what you could do to your body and the transformations, and you and your gym journey, and me getting the privilege to, when I can, sit and work out with you and
I'm trying
show
to
you
hit
the
the gym
ropes.
today if you're down though.
It'll be later.
Yeah, just.
But I am. I'm gonna be in there today. It'll just be later on.
Yeah, just hit me when you go.
Cool. Well, we'll end it on that, man.
Yeah, and I don't think we actually announced this yet though. But in future podcasts, we are gonna start adding guests into the podcast. You know, guest speakers to come and speak about, you know, in the healthcare industry, their experiences with certain ailments that they're fighting, or, you know, also I have like a ER doctor that was down to be on this pod too. I think I told you about it. Yeah, he was the ER doctor for my mom when she was transfusion, and Dr. Fierro, great guy. So he's down to be on here too. And then we got a couple other people that we're still penning in, but once we start that going, we will let you know.
Yeah, we also got to figure out what that's going to look like, whether it's going to be in-house, we're going to travel to them, or we're going to do some form of queue them in virtually and do it that way. So
yeah, maybe a mix of everything. Who knows?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a great transition to add a little bit of, you know, we'll still do these where we can talk about music or life or funny stuff or stories. And for those that are interested in that, we'll still always try and sprinkle those in. But I think that a good direction, and I agree with you, is to use this platform as it grows and as we refine it a little bit more to talk with people and open that up for educational purposes and community. So
Yeah, just spreading awareness of health in all shapes and forms. It doesn't just have to be cancer,
yeah,
cystic fibrosis. We were both dealt a pretty shitty deck of cards. So, let's bring awareness to that deck of cards.
yeah, absolutely. I love you guys. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to be here and have these combos and do this. And proud of you, brother. I love you.
Namaste, brother.
And until the next one, y'all keep being great.
Yes, sir. Be great already. Gone.
Gone.
Doo-doo-doo.